Okay guys, I am obviously not here today, so we're going to do the best we can. I'm going to take you through our first section of notes in 2.4, our last section of the unit, which is about quadrilaterals. So today we're going to be walking through probably two of the most basic ones, the parallelogram and the kite. So we're going to go through the definitions of them, and then we're going to use those definitions to then solve some problems. So again, very similar to like the last couple topics, is that if you know the definitions, all you have to do then is apply them into different problems. So you got to know what's congruent, you got to know what bisects, you got to know all those things, and this should be pretty straightforward. Okay, so a parallelogram, you can kind of guess by the name that all sides or opposite sides are going to be parallel to each other. There are 5 properties of this. So that's property number 1, that opposite sides are parallel. So when we mark that in our picture, we put like little arrows there, and then we'll put double arrows over here to show that those two are parallel. Okay, and if I'm going too fast, please by all means go ahead and pause the video so you can catch up, because you should be writing these notes down along with the video. The other thing about the sides is that the opposite sides are congruent. Okay, so again, we can mark these with a single hash and these with a double hash. Okay, so opposite sides are parallel, opposite sides are also congruent. And then the properties about their angles. So opposite angles are going to be congruent. So angles across, so like all of angle D and all of angle B, and then all of angle A and all of angle C are going to be congruent. Okay, and last one here about the angles is that consecutive angles are supplementary. So you actually knew that already, because if AB is parallel to CD, if you kind of imagine the line BD taken out of it and AC taken out of it, the diagonals, you could see that because those parallel lines, A and D are consecutive interior angles, they're going to be supplementary. So same thing with A and B, same thing with B and C and D. Those two angles are always going to be supplementary. Last but not least, diagonal. So the properties about diagonals is that they bisect each other. So if you remember what bisect means, it means cut into 2 equal parts. So that means DE is congruent to EB. And then I'm just going to use a dot here because I ran out of space. And AE is equal to EC. So again, we're going to use all these properties and we're going to do some problems based off of them. Okay, so in parallelogram PSTM, so we're going to go ahead and draw that. Now when you draw that, your letters have to go in the same order. So you kind of got to go either pick clockwise or counterclockwise. Do the best I can here. Okay, so I'm going to start in the upper left, and then I'm going to go right, bottom, and last on the bottom left. So you can't like jump across the diagram when you're figuring those out. Okay, so angle P is, angle P is 2x plus y, and angle M is 3x plus 5y. Angle T is 4x minus 3y, plus 8. And we want to find angle P and angle S. So looking at the diagram here, we want to figure out, like, what do we know? Okay, what in those properties that I just listed for you can we seem to make an equation out of? So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can figure something out. Okay, so hopefully you were able to figure something out. There should be 3 equations that you could come up with. Angle P plus angle M could equal 180 because those are consecutive interior angles. Same reason M and T could equal 180 degrees because, again, consecutive interior angles. And the last one is that angle P equals angle T. So regardless of how you found that or what equations you set up, you should be able to solve this. So I'm just going to take the easiest two, and I'm going to go ahead and solve them. So I'll just take p plus m equals 180. So I take 2x plus y plus 3x plus 5y. So obviously I knew that I needed two equations because I've got two variables going on here. So I got 5x plus 6y equals 180. Gonna leave that like that. And I got 2x plus y equals 4x minus 3y plus 8. Negative 2x plus 4y equals 8. So now we're going to solve by using a system. So if you want to, go ahead and grab your calculators, and you can go ahead and solve it like that. I'm just going to solve by hand because I don't have my calculator right here. Okay, so we should get y to equal 12.5. And then if we plug that back in, I'll just do that over here. X is going to equal positive 21. Okay, so now that we have that, I just want to make sure that we are going to answer the question. And it says find angle P and angle S. So again, I got X to equal 21 and Y to equal 12.5. So you just plug those back in. I'm confident that you guys can do it to find out what angle P is and what angle S is. Okay, so the last one that we'll do with parallelograms before moving on to a kite is this. So ABCD is a parallelogram, so let's go ahead and draw that. So again, when you're drawing these, you can start in any quarter when you're labeling them. You just got to make sure that you're going like in a circular motion, not jumping across the picture. Okay, so it says ABCD is a parallelogram with diagonals intersecting at E. So I need to draw my diagonals now. Diagonals are something that attach corner to corner, vertex to vertex. Okay, so they meet at E. And it says if BE is x squared minus 6x, and BD, so the whole thing, is going to be x squared minus 11x plus 20. So one property of our diagonals is that they bisect each other. So I know that BD got cut in half. So if BE is x squared minus 6, I know this side is also x squared minus 6x. And so I can make my equation. I can say, okay, I got 2 of the x squared minus 6x, and those two segments should equal the total of x squared minus 11x plus 20. Okay, again, because the diagonals get bisected, each one gets cut in half, I knew that BE was equal to ED, and so I just transferred over that label, and then both of them together are going to equal the whole distance of BD. So now we go and solve, so we got 2x squared minus 12x Okay, so it says find what? Find ED. So again, which one makes sense? So we gotta see if we plug in 5. Actually, the 5 is the one that doesn't make sense, because if you plug in 5 into x squared minus 6x, you get 5 squared, which is 25, minus 30 gives you a negative. So here's one of those cases where the positive one really isn't the one that makes sense. It's x equals negative 4. So ED is going to equal negative 4 squared minus 6 times negative 4. This equals 16 plus 24, which equals 40. Okay, so all about knowing your properties and then applying them.